Recording. Yes. Welcome, everyone. This is Cancer Opportunities, and I'm your host, Alan Rojas Yacolca. I'm from Peru. That's why you hear a Latino accent. And today with me is Guusta Zuurbier. She's from the Netherlands, and she's one of the first readers of our book, which is Cancer Opportunities by Janny Dalmar-Rispens. You've already heard about the book, and of course, we wanted to bring to you more, first impressions and reactions on this beautiful book. So welcome, Guusta. Welcome to today's conversation.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Always wonderful to talk with you. So tell us a little bit about you, Guusta. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do in life.
Well, in normal life, I'm a psychologist, and I live on a farm, an old farm, as you can see on my back. That's where the stove was in early days.
Wow.
And I live here with my husband and 4 kids. And in my normal life as a psychologist, I know Janny since I think, I'm not sure, about 7 or 8 years. And I've known her from a course that we did together. And after that, I said to her, well, maybe logosynthesis is something for you too. So that is how I got to know Janny. And now she's a close friend.
Mm-hmm. And now also the author of this book we're talking about.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes. Well, actually, I'm a little bit jealous about this book. This is the Dutch version, actually. It has the same outlook, but the words are different.
Yes.
And my first reaction when I read it was like, wow, how did she do this? I was jealous that I didn't write this book, because it says everything that I stand for in my life. Everything what she points out is something I feel really strong that people can use that. There are so many resources in your life that you can use, and she wrote them all down in this book. And and of course it's also so fragile, because we're talking about cancer, and cancer is a word that has a lot of tension in it, and it's but she writes this book, and she's not going behind her process. She's just talking about her process, but it's so uplifting. Although it's a harsh theme, of course. So I think she did a really good job about taking you into her process, the first chapter of this book.
Yeah.
You can read her diary, very interesting and very, I think I could connect with that too. I haven't had cancer, but of course you all know somebody with cancer. And I lost some friends with cancer. I also have more friends who survived from cancer. But I think it's so vulnerable and so precious that you can follow somebody in this process, where the whole system is dealing with this illness. So that's the first part that I really liked. And the second part about what you can do about diet and exercise and all these things you can do to what makes you feel better is also very helpful in this kind of processes. And I don't know, this whole book is about mindset, and it's you can do so much with mindset. Then the third part is with logo synthesis, and that's, of course, for me, it's familiar, but I think it would be really helpful for people to dive into that and to see what it can do for them. Even if it is not for them, the rest in the book is still helpful. And then we have this fourth part where she's talking about the system, and that is also such a good I don't know, addition.
Contribution, addition?
Yeah, thank you for that word. Sometimes I have to look for the word. But the system is, of course, totally disorganized, because a lot of things are moving and shifting, and they are feeling things too, and you have to react to that, and everybody has to find a way to deal with this process. So that's also a really strong chapter. So it's actually a very complete book. You know, it doesn't go only about mindset. You also have to deal with it as a system.
Right.
So
I like to take us back to the beginning of this conversation. There was something that you said that caught my attention. You started saying how you wish you had written this book because this book also shared ideas or principles that you resonate with, you know, as a person, as a psychologist. Would you tell us a bit about that? Like how you resonate with that book, or what about your own ideas that you also see in this book that are important for people to know about?
Well, you know, if you have this diagnosis, it's very difficult to stay with your power and to reclaim your power, actually, to get back to your resources. And Yanni helps you on a practical level to have access to what you can do. I mean, there's a lot of things that they say, well, we can't really do anything, you know, you just have to do the chemo. But there's a lot of things you can do. And I like the idea of taking ownership over your life, even if you don't have a disease, actually. I think it's important that you check into these things that you have access to. So that is really appealing to me as a psychologist. That what I teach people to connect with those. Of course, it's mostly we are in a pattern that we are, well, I can't do anything, I'm a victim, it's happened all to me. But the idea of taking back your power and do that step by step. And in the book, it's not only a theory. She writes down how she did it. So yeah, that's what I like about this book.
Right. And from your words, I'm guessing that you also see this book that could go beyond people with cancer. Do you think people without cancer could also benefit from this book?
Yes, I think if you have a chronic disease, you can benefit from this book. You only have to read chronic disease instead of cancer, because they all get a diagnosis and they all get a big change in life and in the system. And they have to deal with it. They have to cope with it. And of course, it's not easy. Yeah? It's hard work, but you can do it. It's all in the book.
Right. And what about in a personal way? Has the book touched you somehow personally?
Well, in many ways.
Tell me about them.
Well, the fragility of our vulnerability that we I mean, I haven't had cancer, but I can feel in this book how it must be to be there and to go through this. And so that's touched me, of course, on a personal level, because I know her and I've called her and seen her and I've supported her. But to read it in the book is even getting closer to her skin.
Yeah.
So that's what touched me on a personal level in this diary. And well, I think that was the most intimate about being touched by this book. The other things is more, well, I get excited about how she writes it and how she helps people to get into it. So that's not touched in a different way. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I when I hear you and after, going through the book as well, I get a sense that this is also practical for people in crisis, to come back to themselves, to ground themselves,
Yes.
to find light again in life when everything seems so dark and
Yes.
scary, like just like you said, the cancer diagnosis can be so scary for many people, and this book does help people to reclaim their power.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes. So what about, current and future cancer patients? What would you tell them about the book?
What would I tell them?
Why would this book be helpful to them?
Well, first, I would just suggest to read it. I don't know if I would tell anything about the content. I think I would just say maybe this can be of help for you because it has a lot of things that will be familiar to you in this process, and that will help you in a way. And maybe I wouldn't say that, but if there's only one thing that would help them, that would be great. But there's so many things in it. So I would just say, well, go and read it, and also give it to your partner, because your partner can also benefit from it. And yeah, maybe, I don't know if they have adult children. It's good for the whole system to read this.
Yeah. I recall that when I was a teenager, people in my family, my relatives, were dying of cancer one by one. It's been present in my field or in my family for a while. And when I was reading the book, I was remembering that sometimes not every family possesses enough information about the subject.
Yes.
And many times they possess even less information about how to deal with their own reactions to the cancer experience, whether in themselves or others.
Yes.
And we, the family around the person who is living with cancer, can be great support, or can become also stressors to the person, because as long as we deal with our own stuff, then we can be there for them. But at the same time, if we're struggling with the whole news, then we cannot help them, but rather, stress them about it, scare them about it, instead of being there with them.
Yes, and I hear from a lot of partners that they are not asked to be involved in the process. The partner has to inform them, but they are not naturally involved. And in this book, you read about what is helpful and what absolutely not. Huh?
Right. Yeah. Let's not spoil it, but yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I'm struggling at this point in the interview because there are so many things that I like to spoil about the book because it's so rich. But at the same time, it's good to keep a surprise. But yeah. Yeah. And from my side, something that you said that also caught my attention is how, I guess, this is the first book in the world connecting, the issue of cancer with logosynthesis, which is this model we both share.
Yes.
To help others heal and develop. And this model is so powerful, to just help people to, reconnect to themselves, reconnect to their power, reclaim it, like you said. And it's so beautifully presented in this book. It's
Yeah.
such a jewel for everyone, even in training in logosynthesis,
Yes.
to access it.
Yes. Yes. It would be really nice to have such a tool that can leave well, let go of tension so easy. That would be so nice for people, because there's a lot of stress. What is well, what would be helpful if that was easily letting go of?
Right, right, right. I guess we have both shared that in our families or close people close to us, there were people with cancer. What would you say are some common struggles that people have with cancer that this book could help with?
Well, that was one part in the book where she, I don't know actually if it's written out in the book, but that you have to have your own control over how about how you want to do the process.
Yes.
Do I want chemo? Do I not want chemo? Do I want a breast removed? Do I want radiation? So that you really connect with what you want. And that is what I've seen in all the people who have cancer, that it's not easy to be in this place where you are the one who has the ownership of his body. So
Right.
that's
And
a
make the
really important
decisions.
part about and where you can use actually logosynthesis, and also about the partners. You know, sometimes they don't understand what you feel, or they don't. There's a lot of how do you call it? We call it a ruis. It's like a lot of communication that is not clear, and it's a little bit
like
bothering.
noise.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So, yeah, unnecessary noise that is not necessary for, and it's not good for the process. But you can find it in the book how you can get that away too. So, and what I've found useful for all those people who have cancer is the future that has to be there, like a point in the future where you can go to, like, well, this week I'm going to focus on, until that week on, well, whatever, you know, that you have this perspective, and that you have to well, use your mindset for that. And that's in the book too, and that you have perspective.
Right, yeah. So there's hope for the future direction, like you said.
Yeah, very important for cancer patients. Yes.
Right. Okay. Is there some final words you'd like to tell people about this book? Of course, and buy it. Is there something that you would like that every reader would know about this book before reading it, so that they just go ahead and dive in it and explore it?
Yes, it's a book about healing, but it's also a book about finding peace in yourself. So go and read this book.
Thank you.
Even if you don't have a disease, it's so nice to be in peace with yourself.
Yes.
I wish all the people that they find peace in their selves, and the book can contribute to that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Guusta. I guess we're staying here today, and thank you everyone for watching this recording. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below, and we'd love to have you in the community. Go buy the book, read it, enjoy it, and we're there for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.